Shalom, my brothers and sisters. Shalom and welcome. Welcome to another series, another presentation from the series, Message from a Watchman. Message from a Watchman. This particular series, this presentation, is entitled Preparedness, Tick-Tock. Again, preparedness, tick-tock. Are you ready? Are you ready when the Spirit of the Father in the name of Yahusha calls out to you? Many of us see the signs of the times, and we can see many videos and presentations talking about prophecy and individuals attempting to interpret the book of Revelation and explain in detail what it means. Most are missing the mark of the true interpretation, and we struggle. But yet, we all can come to agreement that we are in end times. So many of us are aware. So many Hebrews that are coming into the truth. Hebrews that are realizing who we are. Individuals who are Gentiles are coming to realize that Goyim means other nations outside of the chosen people. But many of us are also coming to realize that Yashar'al will be represented by both Hebrew and Goyim that seek to do the will of the Father. With that said, we follow the signs and the times, we fellowship, we talk about it. But how many of us have begun to ask questions of what should we do to prepare for transitioning if we are indeed one who would be called to participate in a demonstration of Yashar'al's return to Israel? How many of us have asked ourselves, in lieu of what's going on, how do we prepare for when Yahusha, the Spirit of Yahusha, guides us from our current home or resident or apartment or trailer or wherever we're living in, preparing our minds to respond to the call? And how many of us are asking ourselves, what would that call resemble? Will it be storms and catastrophes going on? Would it be abrupt and catastrophic situations occurring to make us move? Or will we come to sharpen our senses and get to know the voice of Yahusha very clearly and respond as guided by His Spirit? Or will we respond because we see someone else moving, transitioning, or preparing? Whatever the case, it is imperative that we begin to realize that we should pray and study so that when we make that decision, we make the right decision and that we prepare. I believe and am compelled to believe that there will be a shaking amongst the land across the globe. And as for the United States, as pertaining to the United States, I believe that Yashar'al will begin to start gathering together collectively under one banner as guided by the Spirit of Yahusha. And I believe that the Spirit of the Father will prove those that He's set in place to participate and be used by Him to lead us in this gathering as we start coming closer and closer together in love, in righteousness, and under His command. With that said, my brothers and sisters, this presentation is to provoke thought and prayer, to think about it, so that we will be ready. Let us develop a ready mind to respond to the Most High when we know without a doubt it is indeed Him that's guiding us. So, before we dive into the presentation any further, let us move to the disclaimer. As I read the disclaimer, this is important, and so you will find it in each video and each presentation. The views expressed in this presentation do not reflect the views of any technological portal I use. My views do not reflect the management and or staff of YouTube, Ustream, Facebook, Power Talk, or any other such communication portals. Like with any information presented, you are advised to research and seek confirmation. Each of us are held accountable for our own actions and decisions. Let the presentation begin. Let us examine some scriptures here. Stories to review. Genesis 6 and 7 chapter, about the story of Noah. Have we really given thought that here we see Yahuwah instructing Noah? And in those instructions there's a preparedness, preparing for a flood that was to come. So there were some things that were specific details that took place. The gathering of the wood, the assembling, the cutting, the shaping, the formation of the ark, the gathering of animals, the gathering of his family. So there was some preparation. Read those chapters and ponder on the details. Ask some exhaustive questions as to, okay, when, where, how, who did these occur? Is it safe to believe that there was some preparation that occurred? Consider Genesis 41, the story of Joseph, when he knew that a famine was coming, and he prepared, guided by the Most High Father. Joseph was given the skill sets and the position, and he was used of the Father to guide the people to prepare for the famine so that they can endure during this famine. Look at that, Genesis 41. Exodus 12th chapter, when Moshe, in the Passover, there was preparations involved. There were things that needed to be done and that were done upon the messenger of death coming during that first Passover, when they were instructed to eat the lamb and put the blood across the doorpost. Preparation was involved. Leviticus 23rd chapter, the set apart feast. There are preparations that are involved. There are details. Sometimes we just glaze over things and don't look and realize that there are details in preparing. Joshua 6th chapter, when the walls of Jericho came down. And Yahuwah basically told Israel, they marched down to Jericho. They marched around Jericho. So there was some preparation involved. There were some things that needed to be done. And at the given time, the walls of Jericho came tumbling down. I would encourage you, my brothers and sisters, to read these stories. Genesis 6 and 7 chapters. Genesis 41. Exodus 12th chapter. Leviticus 23rd chapter. Joshua 6th chapter. Just some samples of situations and stories that occurred that required preparation. Let us be mindful. As servants of the Most High, He guides us in preparation. He guides us in preparation. We'll talk more. We'll get more into that. Let us continue. Let's look at something else when we talk about preparedness. Here where a multitude is fed. Matthew's 14th chapter. Matthew 14th chapter. 15 verse through 21. And when evening came, his taught ones came to him, saying, this is a deserted place, and the hour is already late. Dismiss the crowd, so that they may go up into the villages and buy food for themselves. But Yahusha said to them, they do not need to go away. Give them to eat yourselves. And they said to him, we have here only 5 loaves and 2 fish. And he said, bring them here to me. And commanding the crowds to sit down on the grass, and taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he blessed and broke and gave the loaves to the taught ones, and the taught ones gave to the crowds. And all ate and were satisfied, and they picked up the pieces left over, 12 baskets filled. And those who ate were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. So you see here, my brothers and sisters, even when the Messiah fed the multitude, there was some preparation. the taught ones had some food. They had some loaves of bread and fish. So they weren't empty-handed. And here we see where the Messiah multiplied. And so what occurred here we see is that thousands were fed. So they had to be prepared to receive the meal. It didn't just pop in each one of them's hands. So at some point there was an order of service in the way the food was distributed. So the Messiah, the Father has order and structure, and he brings us to preparation. He brings us and guides us, and he uses individuals as he sees fit to bring things to fruition, to bring things to reality. And you see me saying tick-tock because the clock continues to move forward, whether we pay attention to it or not, whether we are aware of it, whether we are cognizant of it or not. The clock continues to move forward, and scriptures continue to be unveiled and fulfilled with each passing moment. We see that. Let's continue. So, what are some essentials in preparing in these last days? What are some of the things that are essential? One, to think about how much and for how long. Many of us may not have the answer, but there is a beginning. One thing that is critical, when whirlwinds and storms come and chaos breaks out, one thing that is very critical, my brothers and sisters, and that is water. 3 days without water, from a practical perspective, of course, could make people respond and act in many delusional ways if they haven't had water in 3 days. Now, of course, we know the power of Yah. Man live by every voice, every word that comes out of the voice of the Most High. But moving to the practical side, bringing balance to our walk, we also must realize that water is important. We see throughout Scripture where water was made bountiful or water was dried up. So water, food, clothing, shelter, location, transitions. Will it be moving from one city to the next? Would it be a move from one state to the next? Would it be a move from one side of the country to the next? Whatever the case may be, these are some things to keep in mind. Our location may vary from time to time as we move into these latter times. So transition, who's guiding whom? Who are the leaders that the Father chooses to use to guide us when the time comes? Are we preparing? Are we giving thought? Are we praying and studying the scriptures and sharpening our senses so we'll be able to identify the Father when he used one of his servants, or if he should open the mouth of a donkey, or the rocks would cry out? Are we preparing ourselves? And do we have a ready mind to respond? Who would be the guides? Timing. Timing is important, because if we don't understand his voice and don't move in a timely fashion, we may succumb to conditions that may be regretful. So timing is very important. So these are some essential things to think about, my brothers. Water, food, clothing, shelter, location, making transitions from one state of being to another in terms of whether we're in a house or apartment or outdoors. Who's guiding us? Who's being used to guide us? And timing. Let's dig into this a little bit more as we continue. This concludes part one of this series. This concludes part one. Stay tuned for part two as we get further into this preparedness. Something that we should seriously think about, my brothers and sisters. Seriously give ear to, give attention to. So stay tuned as we continue.